Welcome back, students. So let me continue the chapter with this idea, technology, tantrajnana. So what is meant by technology? Okay, the definition of technology is like this only. So technology, tantrajnana, it is actually application of the laws of science or laws of physics, of course, in practical situation. So ಪ್ರಾಯೋಗಿಕ ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲಿ ಮೂಲಭೂತವಾದ ನಿಯಮದ ಅಳವಡಿಕೆ ಏನಿದೆ ಅದನ್ನು ಟೆಕ್ನಾಲಜಿ ತಂತ್ರಜ್ಞಾನ ಅಂತ ಅಂತೀವಿ. ಸೊ ಟೆಕ್ನಾಲಜಿ ಇಸ್ ದ ಅಪ್ಲಿಕೇಶನ್ ಆಫ್ ಲಾಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಫಿಸಿಕ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ಲಾಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಸೈನ್ಸ್ ಇನ್ ಜನರಲ್ ಇನ್ ಪ್ರಾಕ್ಟಿಕಲ್ ಸಿಚುವೇಶನ್. ಐ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಗಿವ್ ದ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಫಾರ್ ದ ಟೆಕ್ನಾಲಜಿ. Here are the examples. So coming to heat engine is one of the technology only. So the idea behind heat engine or physics behind heat engine is nothing but law of thermodynamics. Actually, first law of thermodynamics. So ಆ ನಿಯಮವನ್ನು ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಂಡು heat engine ಅಂತ of course ಇನ್ವೆಂಟ್ ಆಗಿದೆ, ಅನ್ವೇಷಣೆಗೊಂಡಿದೆ. And otherwise one more familiar technology, rocket propulsion technology. It's based on conservation of momentum or Newton's laws of motion, conservation of momentum. Anyway, so every technology has its own principle, its own science. So technology is actually the application of laws of science, laws of physics in the practical situation. So these are the examples. Okay, now here is the relation between physics, technology and the society. Right? ಇದು ಮೂರಕ್ಕೆ ಏನು ಸಂಬಂಧ ಇದೆ ಅಂದರೆ ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಕೇಸ್ ಬೇಸ್ಡ್ ಆನ್ ದ ಫಿಸಿಕ್ಸ್ ಪ್ರಿನ್ಸಿಪಲ್ ವಿ ಇನ್ವೆಂಟ್ ದ ಟೆಕ್ನಾಲಜಿ. ಹೆಚ್ಚಿನ ಕೇಸಲ್ಲಿ ಫಿಸಿಕ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ಸೈನ್ಸಿನ ಪ್ರಿನ್ಸಿಪಲ್ ತತ್ವ ಅಥವಾ ಲಾ ಅಂತ ಏನಿದೆ ಅದನ್ನು ಉಪಯೋಗಿಸ್ಕೊಂಡು ಒಂದು ಟೆಕ್ನಾಲಜಿ ಅಂತ ಡೆವಲಪ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ರೈಟ್, ವಿ ಇನ್ವೆಂಟ್ ದ ಟೆಕ್ನಾಲಜಿ ಆ್ಯಕ್ಚುಲಿ. ಬಟ್ ರಿವರ್ಸ್ ಈಸ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ಪಾಸಿಬಲ್. ರಿವರ್ಸ್ ಕೇಸ್ ಕೂಡ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಬೇಸ್ಡ್ ಆನ್ ದ ಟೆಕ್ನಾಲಜಿ ಸಮಟೈಮ್ಸ್ some physics idea was discovered. ಟೆಕ್ನಾಲಜಿನ ನೋಡಿಕೊಂಡು ಅದನ್ನು ಸ್ಟಡಿ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಂಡು ಅಫ್ಕೋರ್ಸ್ ಫಿಸಿಕ್ಸ್ ಐಡಿಯಾವನ್ನು ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿಕ್ಕೆ ಬರ್ತದೆ. ವಿ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಡಿಸ್ಕವರ್ ಸಮ್ ಫಿಸಿಕ್ಸ್ ಲಾಸ್ ಬೇಸ್ಡ್ ಆನ್ ದ ಟೆಕ್ನಾಲಜಿ ಆಲ್ಸೋ. ಸೊ ರಿವರ್ಸ್ ಕೇಸ್ ಈಸ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ಪಾಸಿಬಲ್. ಹಿಯರ್ ಆರ್ ಸಮ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ಸ್. Well, heat engine, as I said before, heat engine is the technology and the principle behind the heat engine is thermodynamics. So physics behind heat engine is thermodynamics. Based on the thermodynamics, yes, heat engine was invented only. So it is technology and this is physics. And one more example, computer is another technology and the basic idea is actually silicon chip. So silicon chip actually triggered the development of computer actually. So this is the idea or principle and this is the technology. I have one more example. This is actually a reverse case. See, wireless communication is one of the technology, radio communication or maybe television communication, wireless communication. That is actually technology. And based on this technology, the law of electricity and magnetism were discovered. Right? ಇದು ಟೆಕ್ನಾಲಜಿಯನ್ನು ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಂಡು ಅಫ್ಕೋರ್ಸ್ ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಿಸಿಟಿ ಮ್ಯಾಗ್ನೆಟಿಸಮ್ಗೆ ಸಂಬಂಧಪಟ್ಟ ನಿಯಮಗಳನ್ನು ಪಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಸೊ ಡಿಸ್ಕವರ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ರಿವರ್ಸ್ ಕೇಸ್. ಸೊ ರಿವರ್ಸ್ ಕೇಸ್ ಇಸ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ಪಾಸಿಬಲ್. ಓಕೆ, ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಐ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ದ ರಿಲೇಷನ್ ಬಿಟ್ವೀನ್ ಫಿಸಿಕ್ಸ್, ಟೆಕ್ನಾಲಜಿ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಸೊಸೈಟಿ ವಿತ್ ಸಮ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್. ವಾಟ್ ಈಸ್ ದ ರಿಲೇಷನ್ ಬಿಟ್ವೀನ್ ಟೆಕ್ನಾಲಜಿ, ಫಿಸಿಕ್ಸ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಸೊಸೈಟಿ? ಸೊ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಇಟ್. See, every technology is based on a science principle or physics principle. So, ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಂದು ಟೆಕ್ನಾಲಜಿಗಿಂತ ಯಾವುದೋ ಒಂದು ನಿಯಮ ಇದೆ, ಭೌತಶಾಸ್ತ್ರದ ನಿಯಮ ಅಥವಾ ವಿಜ್ಞಾನದ ನಿಯಮ. Every technology is based on the science or physics and every technology is useful to the society in one or other way. ಒಂದಲ್ಲ ಒಂದು ರೀತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಆ ಟೆಕ್ನಾಲಜಿಯನ್ನು ನಮ್ಮ ಸಮಾಜಕ್ಕೆ ಉಪಯೋಗ ಇದ್ದೇ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಅದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ಟೆಕ್ನಾಲಜಿಯನ್ನು ಡೆವಲಪ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. Right? So every technology is based on the principle of physics, principle of science, plus every technology is useful to the society in one way or other form. And here is the example. So this is the relation actually. Here is the example. Physics of silicon chip triggered the revolution of computer, of course. Physics of silicon chip actually triggered the revolution of computer. Computer is the technology and silicon chip physics and the principle actually, and which help for the advancement of society, right? Computer development ಅಂತ ಏನಿದೆ ಅದರಿಂದ ನಮಗೆ ಬೇಕಷ್ಟು ಪ್ರಗತಿ ಆಗಿದೆ. ಸಮಾಜಕ್ಕೆ ಬೇಕಷ್ಟು ಪ್ರಗತಿ ಆಗಿದೆ, ಅಡ್ವಾನ್ಸ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಸೊಸೈಟಿ. ಸೊ ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ರಿಲೇಷನ್ ಬಿಟ್ವೀನ್ ಫಿಸಿಕ್ಸ್, ಟೆಕ್ನಾಲಜಿ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಸೊಸೈಟಿ, ರೈಟ್? Yes, moving to the next. I have some list actually, list of discoveries, then list of technologies. Actually, there are so many discoveries, so many technologies in your textbook. I don't know how to remember them. You can remember some of the discoveries, familiar discoveries, some of the technologies. So here are some discoveries. These are discoveries. So this is discovery and this is scientist name. Discovery ಅಂದರೆ ಸಂಶೋಧನೆ ಅಂತ ಅರ್ಥ. ಇನ್ವೆನ್ಷನ್ ಅಂದರೆ ಅಫ್ಕೋರ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ವೇಷಣೆ ಮಾಡೋದು ಅಂತ ಅರ್ಥ. ಹೊಸದಾಗಿ ಕಂಡುಹಿಡಿದ್ರೆ ಅದು ಇನ್ವೆನ್ಷನ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಇದ್ದದನ್ನೇ ಕಂಡುಹಿಡಿದ್ರೆ ಡಿಸ್ಕವರಿ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ here is the example. Principle of buoyancy, principle of liver, that is actually discovery discovered by scientist Archimedes. Okay, Archimedes familiar name. And Galileo Galilei, he discovered law of inertia, maybe law of simple pendulum also. Law of inertia ಅನ್ನೋದು ನಿಮಗೆ laws of motion chapter ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬರ್ತದೆ. Okay, next familiar name, Newton, Isaac Newton. Laws of motion, universal law of gravitation. Law of gravitation ಅಂತಿದೆ, laws of motion ಅಂತಿದೆ, discovered by this scientist Newton. Next, another famous scientist, Albert Einstein. Okay, discovered theory of relativity and then explanation of photoelectric effect. Okay, he gave the explanation for photoelectric effect and he got the Nobel Prize for that. Not the discovery of photoelectric effect, explanation of photoelectric effect. Michael Faraday, another name, electromagnetic induction ಅಂತಿದೆ, ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದಷ್ಟು ನಿಯಮಗಳು ಬರುತ್ತೆ. Law of electromagnetic induction discovered by Michael Faraday. Maxwell, James Clerk Maxwell discovered electromagnetic theory. Electromagnetic waves ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಒಂದಷ್ಟು ಸ್ಟಡಿ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ and discovered electromagnetic theory. Thomson, J.J. Thomson discovered electron. I think you are familiar with this. And Rutherford, Ernst Rutherford discovered nuclear model of atom. And James Chadwick discovered neutron. Becquerel, Henry Becquerel discovered radioactivity phenomena. It comes in the second year. Next, Fermi, Enrico Fermi discovered nuclear reactor system. And here we go. Neil Bohr, Bohr's theory, Bohr's hydrogen atom model, Bohr's theory. So quantum model of hydrogen atom ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. Hydrogen atom theory na Kota, Bohr's theory ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. Quantum model of hydrogen atom. And W.K. Rontgen discovered X-rays. I think you are familiar with this. Rontgen, read as Rontgen. W.K. Rontgen discovered X-rays. And Louis Victor de Broglie, read as de Broglie. Louis Victor de Broglie discovered wave nature of matter. I mean, matter can behave as a wave, but ವಸ್ತುಗಳು ಅಲೆ ಥರ ಬಿಹೇವ್ ಮಾಡ್ತದೆ. So that is the idea. It comes in second year mostly. And Indian name, familiar name, C.V. Raman, Chandrasekhar Venkata Raman, C.V. Raman. And he discovered actually Raman effect. What is that? Here is it. Inelastic scattering of light by liquid molecules. So liquid molecules in mass are scattering agutte. That's called inelastic scattering. And the effect is called Raman effect only. Discovered Raman effect. C.V. Raman discovered Raman effect. And actually he discovered this idea in 1928, February 28th. And he got Nobel Prize for that 2 years later. 2 ವರ್ಷ ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಅವನಿಗೆ Nobel Prize ಬರುತ್ತೆ 1939. And I think you know that every year February 28th celebrated as National Science Day. Right? ನೀವು ಗೊತ್ತಿರಬೇಕು, National Science Day celebrate ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ ನಾವು February 28th ಅನ್ನು. ಯಾಕೆಂದರೆ he discovered the phenomenon Raman effect on that day actually 1928 ಗೆ 28th of the February. So he discovered the phenomenon in 1928 and February 28. So that's why we celebrate February 28 as National Science Day every year. So one more familiar name, Indian-born scientist, American citizen of course, Subramanian Chandrasekhar. Something related to stars, structure and evolution of stars, and also Chandrasekhar limit. He got Nobel Prize. Nobel Prize ಬಂದಿದೆ. And next we have J.C. Bose, Jagadish Chandra Bose, discovery of radio waves, ultra short radio waves. One more Indian name, M.N. Saha, so for thermal ionization, the discovery. S.N. Bose, Satyendra Nath Bose, quantum statistics is the discovery, and S.N. Bose worked with Einstein, so great scientist actually. Next, H.J. Bhabha, Homi Jahangir Bhabha, he discovered cascade process of cosmic radiation. In Bombay, there is one research center, BAR research center ಇದೆ, Bhabha Atomic Research Center. So that was named after this man actually, in honor of this man, Homi Jahangir Bhabha. ಅವನ ಹೆಸರನ್ನೇ ನಾವು ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕೊಡ್ತೀವಿ. So some other discoveries, John Bardeen, he discovered transistor, comes in second year. Edwin Hubble discovered expansion of universe. Universe ಪ್ರಪಂಚ ದೊಡ್ಡದಾಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ಅಂತ ಡಿಸ್ಕವರ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ based on this telescope actually, Hubble telescope. C.H. Towns, laser, maser, so ಅದನ್ನು ಡಿಸ್ಕವರ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. So there are so many discoveries in this way. ಟೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಬುಕ್ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಬೇಕಷ್ಟು ಸಿಗುತ್ತೆ ನಿಮಗೆ. ಸೊ ಯು ರಿಮೆಂಬರ್ ಅಟ್ಲೀಸ್ಟ್ ಸಮ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಡಿಸ್ಕವರೀಸ್. ನಿಮಗೆ ಯಾವ ಫ್ಯಾಮಿಲಿಯರ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ ಅಟ್ಲೀಸ್ಟ್ ಅಷ್ಟನ್ನಾದರೂ ನೆನಪಲ್ಲಿ ಇಟ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. ಐ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಒನ್ ಮೋರ್ ಲಿಸ್ಟ್ ಆ್ಯಕ್ಚುಲಿ, ಲಿಸ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಟೆಕ್ನಾಲಜಿ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಪ್ರಿನ್ಸಿಪಲ್ ಫಿಸಿಕ್ಸ್. ಹಿಯರ್ ಇಸ್ ಇಟ್. ಸೊ ಹಿಯರ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ಟೆಕ್ನಾಲಜಿ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಹಿಯರ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ಫಿಸಿಕ್ಸ್ ಬಿಹೈಂಡ್ ದ ಟೆಕ್ನಾಲಜಿ ಆರ್ ಪ್ರಿನ್ಸಿಪಲ್. ವೈರ್ಲೆಸ್ ಕಮ್ಯುನಿಕೇಷನ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ಟೆಕ್ನಾಲಜಿ, ರೇಡಿಯೋ ಕಮ್ಯುನಿಕೇಷನ್, ಟೆಲಿವಿಷನ್ ಕಮ್ಯುನಿಕೇಷನ್, ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಹಿಯರ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ಥಿಯರಿ ಆರ್ ಪ್ರಿನ್ಸಿಪಲ್. ಫಿಸಿಕ್ಸ್ ಏನಿರ್ತದೆ ಇದು ಜನರೇಷನ್, ಪ್ರೊಪಗೇಷನ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಡಿಟೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರೋಮ್ಯಾಗ್ನೆಟ್ ವೇವ್ಸ್. ಜನರೇಷನ್ ಪ್ರೊಡಕ್ಷನ್ ಅಂತ ಅರ್ಥ ಬರುತ್ತೆ, ಪ್ರೊಪಗೇಷನ್ ಮೂವ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಅಂತ, ಡಿಟೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಓಕೆ, ಇದನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ಮಾಡೋದು ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರೋಮ್ಯಾಗ್ನೆಟಿಕ್ ವೇವ್. ಸೊ ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಆ್ಯಕ್ಚುಲಿ ದ ಪ್ರಿನ್ಸಿಪಲ್ ಬಿಹೈಂಡ್ ವೈರ್ಲೆಸ್ ಕಮ್ಯುನಿಕೇಷನ್. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಹಿಯರ್ ಈಸ್ ಅನದರ್ ಒನ್, ನ್ಯೂಕ್ಲಿಯರ್ ಪವರ್ ರಿಯಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಈಸ್ ಅನದರ್ ಟೆಕ್ನಾಲಜಿ. ಎಸ್, ಬೇಸ್ಡ್ ಆನ್ ದ ಫ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಪ್ರೋಸೆಸ್, fission, splitting process, fission of uranium. Optical fiber is another technology. You have that in the second year syllabus based on the total internal reflection. Very simple idea. Photo cell ಅಂತ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಡಿಸ್ಕವರಿ ಇದೆ based on the photoelectric effect idea. Aeroplane is one of the technology, and aeroplane flight, dynamic lift of aeroplane, that was based on Penrose's principle. Aeroplane to the dynamic lift ಅಂತ ಸಿಗುತ್ತೆ. As it runs through the runway, it gets the dynamic lift actually. The dynamic lift of the aeroplane was based on Bernoulli's principle. So is the technology. Electric generator is one of the common technology. Electricity generate ಮಾಡಬಹುದು, and the principle is electromagnetic induction or Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction. So one more simple technology, rocket propulsion. Mostly Newton's laws of motion ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದು, otherwise conservation of momentum. And I have one more slide. Steam engine is another technology. I mentioned already, steam engine another technology ಇದೆ. Engine now, heat engine of course, based on law of thermodynamics. First law of thermodynamics ಅದು ವರ್ಕ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. Laser is another technology. Expansion of the laser is here. Light amplification by stimulated emission of radiation. Next, hydroelectric power. And how you get this hydroelectric power? It's based on this conservation of energy, conservation of gravitational potential energy into electrical energy. Conservation of energy. Computers, actually based on silicon chip or digital logic is the principle. Sonar is another technology. Expansion, sound, navigation and ranging. Idea is reflection of ultrasonic waves. And maybe finally, electron microscope is another technology. Electron microscope based on wave nature of electrons. So again in the second number. So there are so many technologies also. Again you have to remember some of the technologies, at least familiar technologies. Yes. Moving to the next concept with the fundamental forces of nature. So ಪ್ರಕೃತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದಷ್ಟು ಮೂಲಭೂತವಾದ ಬಲಗಳು ಇವೆ. Fundamental or basic forces in the nature. What are the basic forces? There are 4 fundamental forces in the nature. ಪ್ರಕೃತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಮೂಲಭೂತವಾಗಿ 4 ಫೋರ್ಸ್ ಇರೋದು. So let me see what are those. There is one. Gravitational force is one particular force. Gurutva bala, gravitational force. See, force of attraction between any two bodies in the universe by virtue of their masses. Right? Mass ಇಂದಾಗಿ ಒಂದು attractive force ಅಂತ ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಯಾವುದೇ ಎರಡು ಬಾಡಿ ಮಧ್ಯೆ in the universe. That is actually gravitation force only. You have to remember this definition. Force of mutual attraction between any two bodies by virtue of their masses is actually gravitation force. Okay, I have a picture here. So movement of the planets around the sun. So planets are moving around the sun. So here the forces involved is actually gravitational force only. The planets act developed because of the gravitational force. I have one more slide here. So falling of an apple to the ground also based on the gravitational force. Apple in the ground. Once again, I see gravitational force. Yes, the gravitational force has some properties. Nature, properties of gravitational force. Here we go. It's only attractive force. Gravitation force is the attractive force. It's only attractive. And it's the weakest force in the nature. Prakriti weakest force is actually gravitational force only. And it is long range force. I mean, the force acts through long distance. There is a gravitation force between this particular classroom and the sun. So, the range or the distance between those two will be very large only. So, range of force is very large. So, these are the properties of gravitation force only. And moving to the next force, electromagnetic force. Electromagnetic force is actually another fundamental force, and definition is here. The force between the charged particles. Force between the charged particles. Charged particles madhye iruvanta force. That is actually electromagnetic force. And here is one picture, maybe like this: positive charge, positive charge. There is a force, but force of repulsion. Idu ಒಂದು repulsion ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. If you consider positive charge and negative charge, there may be attraction. So this force may be a repulsive force, sometimes it may be attractive force. So it depends on the nature of the charge. And under electromagnetic force, mostly we can discuss like frictional force. Frictional force is actually electromagnetic force only. Otherwise, spring force, okay, it comes in the first year topic, spring force. ಅದು electromagnetic force ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬರ್ತದೆ. Maybe something like tension, ಕೆಲವೊಂದು ಸರಿ tension ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. I mean force developed in the string opposite to the applied force called tension. ಅದು ಕೂಡ electromagnetic force ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. But ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಒಟ್ಟು ಸೇರಿಸಿ ಹೀಗೆ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ ನಾವು electromagnetic force. Now, nature of electromagnetic force. ಇದರ ನೇಚರ್ ಹೇಗಿದೆ? Properties of electromagnetic force. See, electromagnetic force may be attractive in nature, sometimes repulsive in nature also. Depends on the charged particles. Attractive force irbodu athwa repulsive force kuda irbodu. Yavadu irbodu. Depends, of course. And it is actually charge dependent force. Charge annu ಹೊಂದಿಕೊಂಡಿರುತ್ತದೆ. Charge dependent force. So charge ಮೇಲೆ ಅದು ಚೇಂಜ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ ಅರ್ಥ. Charge dependent force. And it is also a long range force like gravitational force. Gravitational force ತರ ಇದು ಕೂಡ ಒಂದು long range force ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. See, when you compare with the gravitation force, this is actually stronger force. So electromagnetic force is stronger than the gravitational force, right? So that's all about electromagnetic force. So other one is strong nuclear force. strong nuclear force is another fundamental force. And here is the definition: force that binds protons and neutrons inside the nucleus. Nucleus ಒಳಗಡೆ protons and the particles ಇದೆ, neutrons and the particles ಇದೆ. So these two together called the nucleons. Protons, neutrons and ಒಟ್ಟು ಸೇರಿಸಿದ್ರೆ nucleons ಅಂತ ಕರೀತಾರೆ. So force which binds the nucleons together inside the nucleus is actually strong nuclear force. So nucleus ಒಳಗಡೆ ಇದರ existence ಇದೆ ಅಂತ ಅರ್ಥ. Force which binds the protons, neutrons is actually nuclear force, strong nuclear force. And here is it. See, there will be force between neutron and neutron. Neutron on the force of attraction ಇದೆ. Plus between proton and proton also. So between proton electromagnetic force ಇರುತ್ತೆ. Proton is charged particle, positive and positive. That is actually repulsive force. ಅದನ್ನು ಓವರ್ಕಮ್ ಮಾಡಲು ಏನೊಂದು ಅಟ್ರಾಕ್ಟಿವ್ ಫೋರ್ಸ್ ಬರ್ತದೆ in between the two protons. That will be strong nuclear force only. So nucleus ಒಳಗಡೆ ಆ ಫೋರ್ಸ್ ಬರ್ತದೆ ಅಂತ ಅನ್ಬೋದು. Now coming to nature of properties of strong nuclear force. ಇದರ ಪ್ರಾಪರ್ಟಿ ಹೇಗಿರುತ್ತೆ? Yes, it is the strongest force in the nature. See, gravitational force is the weakest force in the nature, and this one, strong nuclear force, is the strongest in nature. And this is actually 100 times stronger than electromagnetic force. Electromagnetic force compare ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಇದು 100 times ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. So strongest force in the nature is strong nuclear force. And this is actually short range force. So the force acts, distance through which the force acts is very lesser. The range of the force is very less. Mostly of the order of 10 power minus 15 meter. Nucleus ಒಳಗಿನ ಡಿಸ್ಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಏನಿದೆ ಅದು 10 power minus 15 meter ಆರ್ಡರ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ ರೇಂಜ್ ಇರೋದು, which is very very small. So short range force, and at the same time it is actually charge independent force. Charge ಅನ್ನು ಹೊಂದಿಕೊಂಡಿರುವುದಿಲ್ಲ. So inside the nucleus there will be neutrons, will be protons. So there is a force of attraction between proton and proton, between proton neutron, between neutron neutron. ಎಲ್ಲದೂ ಕೂಡ ಸ್ಟ್ರಾಂಗ್ ನ್ಯೂಕ್ಲಿಯರ್ ಫೋರ್ಸ್. ಅದು ಚಾರ್ಜ್ ಮೇಲೆ ಡಿಪೆಂಡ್ ಆಗಿಲ್ಲ, ಚಾರ್ಜ್ ಇಂಡಿಪೆಂಡೆಂಟ್ ಫೋರ್ಸ್. ಫೈನಲಿ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಅಟ್ರಾಕ್ಟಿವ್ ಫೋರ್ಸ್. ಅದರ ನೇಚರ್ ಅಟ್ರಾಕ್ಟಿವ್ ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ದಿಸ್ ಆರ್ ದ ಪ್ರಾಪರ್ಟೀಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಸ್ಟ್ರಾಂಗ್ ನ್ಯೂಕ್ಲಿಯರ್ ಫೋರ್ಸ್. Yes, another one, fourth one is weak nuclear force. Weak nuclear force. This is something different actually. It is the force that appears only in certain nuclear processes, such as beta decay of a nucleus. So special force ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ನ್ಯೂಕ್ಲಿಯರ್ ಪ್ರೋಸೆಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಎಕ್ಸಿಸ್ಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಇರುವಂತ ಒಂದು ಫೋರ್ಸ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. This is one particular example. During the beta decay of a nucleus, ನ್ಯೂಕ್ಲಿಯಸ್ ಇಂದ ಬೀಟಾ ಪಾರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ ಅಂತ ಎಮಿಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಆ ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲಿ ಈ ಫೋರ್ಸ್ ನ ಎಕ್ಸಿಸ್ಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಬರ್ತದೆ. So the force that appear only in certain nuclear processes, such as beta decay of a nucleus. Okay, here is it. So this is the nucleus. In certain case, electron is emitted from the nucleus. ಕೆಲವೊಂದು ನ್ಯೂಕ್ಲಿಯರ್ ಪ್ರೋಸೆಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನ್ಯೂಕ್ಲಿಯಸ್ ಇಂದ ಇಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಾನ್ ಅನ್ನು ಎಮಿಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. See, electron is not exist inside the nucleus. Electron nucleus ಒಳಗಡೆ ಇರುವುದಿಲ್ಲ actually, but at the time of emission, electron is created and emitted. This electron has the separate name, beta particle. ಈ electron ಗೆ beta particle, beta minus ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ ನಾವು, simply called beta particle. ಅದು ಹೇಗಾಗುತ್ತೆ? So it's like this. At the time of emission of beta decay, see, inside the nucleus, a neutron converts into a proton, right? Neutron proton ಆಗಿ ಕನ್ವರ್ಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಡಿಕೆ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. There is an interaction between neutron and proton during this process. ಈಗ ಈ ನ್ಯೂಟ್ರಾನ್ಗೂ ಪ್ರೋಟಾನ್ಗೂ ಓಕೆ ಒಂದು ಫೋರ್ಸ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ, and that force will be weak nuclear force. Okay, strong nuclear force is there, ಅದರಿಂದಾಗಿ ಅದು ಒಟ್ಟಿಗೆ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. But at the time of emission of beta particle from the nucleus, there is an interaction between neutron and proton with that weak force. force, so called weak nuclear force only. So neutron proton and convert ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಆವಾಗ electron ಅನ್ನೋದು emit ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. That electron is called beta particle. Along with that we get anti-neutrino particle also. Then in the second year ಬರುತ್ತೆ. So this is something like different idea, different force, weak nuclear force. Actually, weak nuclear force is stronger than the gravitational force. Remember, it's stronger than the gravitational force, but weaker than electromagnetic force and the strong nuclear force. That's all. Yes, nature or properties. So it is very short range force. The range of weak nuclear force is actually less than strong nuclear force. Strong nuclear force kittu kadame range ide, maybe of the order of 10 power minus 16 meter, right? So very short range irutte, and it is much weaker than strong nuclear force and electromagnetic force in comparison. Okay, it's stronger than gravitational force, but much weaker than strong nuclear force and electromagnetic force. So that's all about weak nuclear force. So finally, here is the conclusion. The conclusion is ಎಲ್ಲ force ಒಟ್ಟಿಗೆ ತೋರಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ in this slide, of course. So here is the gravitation force. Planets are revolving around the sun. So gravitation force by the solar system, ಇಲ್ಲಿ gravitation force ಅಂತ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. Then electron is revolving around the nucleus. So electromagnetic force binds the atom. ಇದು atom system. The atom ಅಂತ ಆಗಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ electromagnetic force ಬೇಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ. Next, strong nuclear force. Nucleus ಒಳಗಡೆ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. So strong nuclear force binds the nucleus. Nucleus in the formation ಆಗಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಇದು ಬೇಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ, strong nuclear force. And then weak force in radioactive decay. ಕೆಲವೊಂದು ನ್ಯೂಕ್ಲಿಯರ್ ಪ್ರೋಸೆಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಮೇಬಿ ರೇಡಿಯೋಆಕ್ಟಿವ್ ಪ್ರೋಸೆಸ್ ಆವಾಗ weak nuclear force existence ಬರ್ತದೆ. Actually nuclear fission, nuclear fusion based on these strong nuclear force and weak nuclear force together. So this is about forces, fundamental forces. I have one more idea about nature of physical laws. Nature of physical laws. I mean, we got different physical quantities, of course, in physics. Physics are the biggest physical quantities in the world. Several physical quantities. Most of the quantities change with the time, right? This is the nature actually. ಹೆಚ್ಚಿನ quantities ಅನ್ನೋದು ಟೈಮ್ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಬದಲಾಗ್ತಾ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ. ಮೇಬಿ ವೆಲಾಸಿಟಿ, ಮೇಬಿ ವಾಲ್ಯೂಮ್, ಪ್ರೆಷರ್ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ಆಕ್ಸಲರೇಷನ್ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ಅದು ಮೇಬಿ ಟೆಂಪರೇಚರ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ, ಅದು ಆಕ್ಚುಲಿ ಟೈಮ್ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಚೇಂಜ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಕ್ವಾಂಟಿಟೀಸ್ change with the time, but some special physical quantities, some special physical quantities, however, remain constant in time. ಕೆಲವೊಂದು ಸ್ಪೆಷಲ್ ಫಿಸಿಕಲ್ ಕ್ವಾಂಟಿಟೀಸ್ ಟೈಮ್ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಬದಲಾಗಲ್ಲ, ಒಂದೇ ಥರ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, remains constant in time. This is the speciality, this is the nature, of course, of the laws or physical laws. So here is the definition. Physical quantities which remain unchanged in a physical process is called conserved physical quantities. That is the name given. So ಯಾವ physical quantities process ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಚೇಂಜ್ ಆಗದೇ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಹಾಗೆ ಚೇಂಜ್ ಆಗದೇ ಇರುವ physical quantity ಹೆಸರು ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ conserved physical quantity. ಸಂರಕ್ಷಣೆಗೆ ಒಳಪಟ್ಟ ಭೌತ ಪರಿಮಾಣ, ಕನ್ನಡ ವರ್ಡ್, right? Physical quantities which remain unchanged in a physical process called conserved physical quantities. And here are the examples. Energy is conserved physical quantity. Momentum, linear momentum antide, angular momentum antide, or maybe mass, charge. So these physical quantities are some special physical quantities which remain constant with respect to time in a process. Yes. It's about conservation of laws in physics. So we have conserved physical quantities because to conserve physical quantities at the matra, and these conserved physical quantities follow certain rules, of course. So here is it, conservation laws in physics. Samrakshana niyama anta bartade, conservation laws. So very conservation laws ide. I think you are familiar with these laws. Like we have law of conservation of energy. energy. Very familiar. Law of conservation of energy. Shakti Palana Niyama. Energy can neither be created nor be destroyed. It can be converted into one form to another form. So total energy ಅನ್ನೋದು ಯಾವತ್ತೂ ಒಂದೇ ಥರ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಬದಲಾಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ ಟೈಮ್ ಜೊತೆಗೆ. ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಕನ್ಸರ್ವ್ಡ್ ಫಿಸಿಕಲ್ ಕ್ವಾಂಟಿಟಿ. ಸೊ ಇಟ್ ಒಬೇ ದ ಲಾ ಆಫ್ ಕನ್ಸರ್ವೇಷನ್. And we have law of conservation of momentum, linear momentum. Law of conservation of angular momentum. Linear momentum comes in the straight line motion. Angular momentum comes in rotatory motion, or maybe circular motion also. Also we have law of conservation of charge, law of conservation of mass, right? And mostly you are going to study these three mostly. In my first year topic ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. Conservation of energy, conservation of linear momentum, conservation of angular momentum. ಪಾಲನ ನಿಯಮಗಳು. Okay, that's it. And finally one more idea is symmetries of nature. ಪ್ರಕೃತಿಯ ಸಮತೆಗಳು. Symmetries of nature. What is that? What is this? Symmetries of nature ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಹೇಗೆ? Okay, conservation laws ಅಂತ ನಾವು ಈಗಾಗಲೇ ಡಿಸ್ಕಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ವಿ. Actually conservation laws have deep connection with this particular thing, symmetries of nature. ಹೇಗೆ ಅಂತ ಇಲ್ಲಿದೆ. See, the laws of nature do not change with the time. This is the observation. Laws of nature do not change with the time and also do not change with the location in the universe. ಯಾವ ಕಂಡೀಷನಲ್ಲಿ? ಅಂಡರ್ ಐಡೆಂಟಿಕಲ್ ಕಂಡೀಷನ್. ಐಡೆಂಟಿಕಲ್ ಕಂಡೀಷನ್ ಅಂತ ನೀವು ಹೋಗ್ತೀವಿ ಟೈಮ್ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಮತ್ತೆ ಲೊಕೇಶನ್. ಲೊಕೇಶನ್ ಪ್ಲಸ್ ಪ್ಲೇಸ್, ಜಾಗ, ಪ್ಲೇಸ್, ಯಾವುದೇ ಪ್ಲೇಸ್ ಕೂಡ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೆರಿಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು. ಆ ನಿಯಮಗಳನ್ನು ಬದಲಾಗುವುದಿಲ್ಲ. ಲಾಸ್ ಆಫ್ ನೇಚರ್ ಡು ನಾಟ್ ಚೇಂಜ್ ವಿತ್ ದ ಟೈಮ್ and do not change with the location in the or place in the universe under identical condition. This is the observed thing. I mean, say you are measuring the time period, say time period of simple pendulum at one particular time. So you are measuring the time period at this particular time. ಈಗ ನೀವು ಟೈಮ್ ಪೀರಿಯಡ್ ಅಂತ ಮೆಷರ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಿ ಅಂತ ಇಟ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋದು using the simple pendulum experiment. Okay, you get one result. And do the same experiment after say 2 hours. Under identical condition you get the same result. Or otherwise 2 days later ಒಂದು 2 ದಿವಸ ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಮತ್ತೆ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೆರಿಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಮೆಷರ್ ದ ಟೈಮ್ ಪೀರಿಯಡ್ ಅಂಡರ್ ಐಡೆಂಟಿಕಲ್ ಕಂಡೀಷನ್. ಯು ಅಗೇನ್ ಯು ಗೆಟ್ ದ ಸೇಮ್ ರಿಸಲ್ಟ್ ಓನ್ಲಿ. ಅಥವಾ ಒಂದು 10 ವರ್ಷ ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಮಾಡಿ, ಅಥವಾ ಮೇ ಬಿ 25 years, 100 years. ಸೊ ವಾಟ್ ಎವರ್ ದ ಟೈಮ್, ನೀವು ಎಷ್ಟು ಟೈಮ್ ಆದ ಮೇಲೆ ಕೂಡ ಮೆಷರ್ ಮಾಡಿ. ಲಾ ಆಫ್ ನೇಚರ್ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಬದಲಾಗುವುದಿಲ್ಲ. ಅಂಡರ್ ಐಡೆಂಟಿಕಲ್ ಕಂಡೀಷನ್ ರಿಮೇನ್ ಸೇಮ್, ಒಂದೇ ಥರ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಆಲ್ಸೋ law of nature remains the same with respect to place, location in the universe. For example, simple pendulum experiment. You can do the experiment mostly at the lab. You get the result. Do the experiment at your home. Manel mattonsara experiment ಮಾಡಿ. Under identical condition you get the same result only. You do the experiment on moon surface if possible. ನಿಮಗೆ ಸಾಧ್ಯ ಆದರೆ moon surface ಅಲ್ಲಿ experiment ಮಾಡಿ. Do the experiment at Bombay ಹೋಗಿ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೆರಿಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ, ಅಥವಾ ಫಾರಿನ್ ಹೋಗಿ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೆರಿಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ. ವಾಟ್ ಎವರ್ ದ ಪ್ಲೇಸ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಯೂನಿವರ್ಸ್, ರಿಸಲ್ಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ರಿಮೇನ್ ಸೇಮ್ ಓನ್ಲಿ ಅಂಡರ್ ಐಡೆಂಟಿಕಲ್ ಕಂಡೀಷನ್. ಸೊ ದಿಸ್ ಐಡಿಯಾ ಇಸ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಆಕ್ಚುಲಿ ಸಿಮೆಟ್ರೀಸ್ ಆಫ್ ನೇಚರ್. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನಾವು ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ ಸೊ ನೇಚರ್ ಲವ್ಸ್ ಸಿಮೆಟ್ರಿ ಅಂತ. ಪ್ರಕೃತಿಯನ್ನು ಸಮತೆಯನ್ನು ಇಷ್ಟಪಡ್ತದೆ, ರೈಟ್? ಸೊ ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ಆಕ್ಚುಲಿ ದಿಸ್ ಐಡಿಯಾ ಇಸ್ ಸಿಮೆಟ್ರೀಸ್ ಆಫ್ ನೇಚರ್. So the laws of nature do not change with the time and do not change with the location in the universe under identical condition. And this idea is called symmetries of nature. So that is the idea. Maybe this is the last idea of your topic, your first chapter. I think with this I can conclude the chapter. So this is only general thing only. And here for examination purpose you can expect 1 or 2 marks questions only, right? No long answer questions. ಹೆಚ್ಚಂದ್ರೆ ಒಂದು 3 marks question ಬರ್ಬೋದು, 1 mark question, 2 marks question ಬರ್ಬೋದು. ಸೊ ಅದಷ್ಟು ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಡೆಫಿನೇಷನ್ಸ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಅದನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ನೀವು ಕಲ್ತ್ಕೋಬೇಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ. ಸಮ್ ಡಿಸ್ಕವರೀಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಟೆಕ್ನಾಲಜೀಸ್, ಎವ್ರಿಥಿಂಗ್ ಇಸ್ ದೇರ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ರಿಮೆಂಬರ್ ದೋಸ್ ಥಿಂಗ್ಸ್. ಐ ಥಿಂಕ್ ಯು ಗಾಟ್ ದ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ಸ್. ವಿತ್ ದಿಸ್ ಐ ಕನ್ಕ್ಲೂಡ್ ದ ಚಾಪ್ಟರ್, ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಚಾಪ್ಟರ್, physical world. All the best. Thank you.